Hey, what's up guys? My name's Luke and I wanted to put together a quick trip report for you on my recent trip to the Mara camp, the Wild Mara camp. This was my first week back this year and I was super chuffed to be there, catch up with all our extended Kenyan family. Hosted two great guests, Manfred and Britta. Shout out guys, how you doing? It was a pleasure spending some time with you. But what I wanted to do for all of you today was put together a little slideshow of some images and then chat a little bit about them. So I'm going to try to keep it short, but these things tend to go on a little bit longer. Hope you guys enjoy. Please feel free to post comments below and I'll happily get back to you. Right, so let's jump to my computer screen and I'll jump back and forth between my face and the photographs. Hopefully more photographs than my face, I'm sure you wish. But yeah, anyway, jumping in, this is the very first crossing of the Wild Mara season, so I was super chuffed to be there. As you can see, there's a lot of zebra involved in the migration, as well as a lot of wildebeest. So if you consider that there's millions of wildebeest, there's also several 100,000 zebra that make the journey throughout the Serengeti Mara system throughout the year. So yeah, we were front line and center and very happy to be there. During the same crossing, this happened, which got me pretty excited because I've never actually seen a crocodile kill. Unfortunately, I still haven't seen a crocodile kill because somehow this wildebeest managed to get away. The crocodile had it by sort of the love handle over there, but unfortunately the wildebeest wriggled and sort of managed to get itself away. I don't know how. There were lots of cheers from all the vehicles parked around for the wildebeest surviving, but yeah. I mean, at one point the crocodile even had the thing completely submerged in the water and somehow it managed to fight back. And I mean, it's not a small crocodile. Look at the size of that head. It's just a massive guy. Let's zoom in quickly and check him out. There we go. Wow, man. Anyway, my day is still coming, so continue to look for that. Anyway, moving on, later that afternoon we had a lioness on her fresh wildebeest kill. We spent a bit of time with her in the dying light at twilight. But yeah, basically if you see anything getting eaten or dying in the Mara at this time of year, it's generally a wildebeest. When there's several million of you moving through, you tend to be targeted pretty often. Anyway, we went back to the camp after this and had some great dinner, talked some nonsense around the fire, and got up early the next morning and managed to catch up with this beautiful girl along with the rest of her pride. There was about 4 or 5 females here and about 3 or 4 males, but you know, I know it's a cliche shot to take a photograph of a lioness yawning, but when they're in a really beautiful place like this with a beautiful sky, beautiful morning light hitting her, you take the shot. And I really enjoyed it. About 50 meters to her right hand side was this boy. He was feeding on his fresh wildebeest plunder, and you know, I don't often do black and white photography. I'm really quite a color guy. I really enjoy working with color. I love editing color, but you know, every once in a while you got to bust out the black and white, and I find that the king works better than most subjects in order to do this. Surprise, surprise, he's eating another wildebeest there. But yeah, nice to catch up with him and his coalition buddies. We also kept coming across, or actually they kept coming across us. We were kind of followed by this mating pair of lions throughout the week. You know, just a quick update, unfortunately this individual, and even though I was only there 2 weeks ago, this individual is now dead. There's been a bit of a lion hierarchy mix up in this part of the Mara, and so unfortunately he has been killed. And I'm not too sure what's happened with the lioness. I'm sure just the new males have moved in and are happy to be taking control of a new pride of females. But yeah, this mating pair just seemed to follow us throughout the week. I mean, for 7-8 days they've been mating, which is really uncommon. I'm used to lions mating for like 3-4 days at the most. So to have a pair that mates for about 8 days and pretty enthusiastically is quite something to witness. But they kept gate crashing basically all of our sightings. Anyway, jumping back into the photographs, the next morning we came across a lot of hyena activity, all of them all over the road running around. So we drove a little bit further down the road and we came across this. Unfortunately, a dead, unfortunately for the zebra, fortunately for the hyena and the little jackal back there, because he was quite happily feeding with these young hyena. They managed to kill themselves some tasty breakfast. So you can see the youngsters moved in last. They were just getting carried away with what was left, not very much, just a zebra's head at this point in time, with a larger hyena just looking on. There was a bit of a standoff that happened during this sighting as well with the big hippo that kind of approached them, but it ended without any drama. Basically the hippo just went straight back to the water and the hyenas carried on eating their zebra head, and the jackal never skipped a beat either. As soon as the hyenas looked away, the jackal just tried to eat more and more. Later that day we had this beautiful peaceful sighting of a small group of zebra crossing back through the Mara River into the Mara Conservancy. The reason they were doing this was because other zebra or members of their herd were still stuck on that side and calling. And this often happens throughout the migration season. Animals will cross back and forth depending on where the rain's falling, depending on where the grass is greener, but also depending on whether they've left members of their herd on opposite sides, or their families really on the opposite sides of the river. So yeah, nice peaceful sighting or crossing, which quickly disintegrated into chaos, and probably the most incredible 45 minutes of safari I've ever witnessed. We were photographing a crossing of wildebeest, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 in this exact place. They were crossing from this side, walking onto this bank, and then walking across that bank in front of us and up onto the other side, onto our side of the river. And we were trying to slow pan them, so very slow shutter speeds, 1/30th of a second, trying to get those cool movement shots where you can just see blurs for the legs while trying to maintain a crystal clear and in focus head. So we were not prepared for what was about to happen next. And it kind of went from beautiful tranquility to this. Initially what happened is we were photographing and trying to slow pan, as I said, and one of my guests, Manfred, turned around and saw a lioness coming out of nowhere. Obviously this isn't the lioness, I couldn't get my camera around to shoot her in time, but as I turned, I literally just witnessed the lioness tackling a wildebeest into a drainage line, and she killed it down there. We then saw this big boy, and by the way, this is the mating pair that just kept crashing everything that we saw. This big boy popped out of the grass. He kind of jumped around up and down from right to left, trying to figure out which wildebeest to go for. He set his target and he went for it, and he actually nailed another wildebeest. I did have a photograph of him killing that wildebeest, but I thought this was the better of the photograph. So yeah, already two lion kills, one beautiful crossing. We then went down the river about 300 or 400 meters, and we saw another crossing, very peaceful, 2,000 or 3,000 wildebeest crossing, no drama there. And then we decided to go back to the lions, and while we were on the way back to the lions, we saw another small crossing building up and starting to happen. And so we quickly raced up, stopped, and as we kind of stopped, this happened. This big male leopard popped out of nowhere. I swear, he just appeared from thin air, smashed a wildebeest right next to us. It was not more than 5-10 meters away from us. Killed it very quickly, and then proceeded to drag it up this bank over here and into some bushes there, and we could no longer see him, unfortunately. So now we're dealing with 3 crossings so far, or 4 if you count the small zebra crossing, 2 lion kills and a leopard kill, all in about 40-45 minutes. So we then, after this, decided to carry on going towards the lion. It was then, or the lions, the 2 different lion kills, it was then that we noticed that the lioness was busy killing another wildebeest. And so now we're up to 4 kills, 3 lion kills, 1 leopard kill, and 3 crossings, all happening in the space of 45 minutes. It was madness. We were kind of speechless after this. We just went straight back to the camp. We were all brimming. It was one of the best safari moments of our lives, and there's some really cool photographs of the entire afternoon. So yeah, super chuffed. Anyway, moving on, the next day we had these vultures coming down on a fresh lion kill. Not very often that you get vultures lining up with the moon like this, so I really enjoyed taking these photographs. I know it's a little bit cliche, but super cool. I'm pretty chuffed with that photograph. One of the best places to shoot vultures, or not shoot them, photograph them, is the Mara. There's just so many wildebeest dying or getting killed that the vultures are cashing in like it's going out of fashion. And so you end up with a lot of scenes where just a dead wildebeest is lying with 40-50 vultures just swirling around. Another 100 meters down the road, there's another one of those happening. Another 100 meters that way, there's another thing like that happening. And so you get these beautiful opportunities to photograph vultures coming in and landing on these kills. This is a Ruppel's vulture, by the way. Beautiful birds. And really, if you're looking for one of the best places to photograph vultures or raptors, the Mara is the place to be. The next morning we got going really early. We were alerted to this lioness and her sister, who was somewhere over here, by our guide Jimmy. We were actually focusing on a cheetah behind us here when he shouted, "Hey, there's a lion on the ridge." So we quickly turned around. We thought, great opportunity for a silhouette shot. And what I really love is that you can see the impala and the Thompson's gazelles all kind of looking in awe as this lioness moves by. So yeah, very chuffed with that image. Later that morning, we came across quite a big male leopard. There was actually 2 of them. There was a female somewhere, I think they were mating, but we didn't really see her. But what we did manage to do is spend about an hour with this beautiful male as he slowly went through this drainage line. You can see he's in beautiful stalk action at the moment, but he was essentially moving further and further down this drainage line towards a big herd of wildebeest. And I was the idiot that decided to try and film this. I fluffed the filming, but luckily Manfred and Britta got some incredible shots of him eventually launching towards one of these wildebeest. and chasing it. Now, it's not very often that you see a leopard chasing something down. Generally, they rely on stalk and pounce, but in this particular occasion, he had to chase something. And so we got to watch this leopard kind of running in open space about 30, 40, 50 meters after a wildebeest. Unfortunately, he didn't capture the wildebeest, but it was just an amazing experience to see the build-up, the stalk, the patience involved, and then eventually the chase. It was really, really cool to see that and to see the photographs that were captured. I wanted to include a couple of photographs of one of my favorite crossing of all time. We managed to time this really well. The wildebeest also did. Just as the sun was coming over the horizon, we had these beautiful reds and oranges and all the dust coming up, and it was just perfect place, perfect time. And I thought I better include one of these photographs. It's so cool when you look into them and you can see wildebeest just all over the show inside the dust. I think there's even a guy over there, another one coming down there, and then when you come up, just that band of light and all these wildebeest at the top. This was really cool, and this is very exciting photography for me. We really enjoyed photographing it, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy looking at it. Then I wanted to include one more photograph of that same crossing. This is just to show you how much the light can change. This was probably about half an hour later. You can see now the light has become a lot more golden and bright, and so you lose that dramatic red. But I really enjoyed this shot with the little contrast of the zebra coming down there, and then all the wildebeest still kicking up dust and casting their shadows into the dust. Right, then the last photograph was just to show you guys what I meant by slow panning earlier on. So this is slow panning, very slow shutter speed. Obviously just trying to capture the movements of the legs while trying to keep the body or the head of your subject as clear as possible. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun to do. The way you do it, very slow shutter speed, basically 1/15th, 1/30th of a second, and then you get your focal point right over the animal's eye or head, and you try and pan with the animal as it's running through your frame. You've got to try and time it basically perfectly if you want to try and get crystal clearness of your subject with the legs getting blurred out. As you can see, it's not that easy. I did not time it too well, but I'm pretty chuffed with this shot nonetheless. Anyway guys, that is my trip report on my recent trip to the Wild Mara camp. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be going back there in a week's time, and so I look forward to putting together another one of these for you. But please feel free to post any comments that you might have below. And for any of you that are coming to the camp this year, or might be on the same weeks that I'm hosting, I look really forward to meeting you. Otherwise, I look really forward to you experiencing this incredible place. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers.